When you know how to think, it empowers you far beyond those who know only what to think.
Thinking is uncomfortable. It takes effort.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
I have a dream. You can't handle
What
the truth.
we've got here is failure to communicate.
Wrong.
I'm trying to free your mind, but I can only show you the door. You're the one that has to walk through it.
Free at last. Free at last. Thanks God Almighty. Free at last.
Check, check, check.
Check in. I'm gonna check your check and raise a check.
Hey, what's going on, boy?
What's up?
All right, let me see the shoulder. For those that don't know, Coach Scott has a bad shoulder. Show me which shoulder it is, man. Ah, my gosh, look at that. Does it have one of those impressive scars too?
Oh, I wouldn't know yet. This is fresh off the press, so I haven't looked underneath to see what is the residue, what's left.
Oh no. Hey, well, maybe you can make it like a wicked tattoo for it afterwards.
That's the plan. You know, like a big dragon.
I wouldn't go with dragon. I'd go with iguana. You're from Trinidad. There's no dragons, just iguanas.
Or something like a fluffy killer teddy bear. You know.
Well, yeah, I'm sure, you know, you've been doing mushrooms all your life, so a fluffy teddy bear. That's wild.
Whatever works, right?
Look at all the carnival stuff in the background and thing. I see you still haven't learned to clean your clothes.
No, I just packed them in a different corner.
Yeah. It's just, I do that to my wife all the time.
You know, Scott Trinidad, Mark Trinidad. You got to represent.
All right, hold on a second. Let me see if I have everything right. Okay, so you could hear me, I could hear you. I'm a bit, I'm on the right side, you on the left side. I have to admit to you, I don't know, you do a lot of because you're a coach now, right? And you coach kids. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I don't do anything on Zoom. This is like my third Zoom because I had to do something over the Christmas. I was doing some Zoom show for a client that I normally do shows for. So I don't do this at all. So I'm lost. If everything's working well, then okay, good. Because I'm, you know, us old people, we don't know and understand technology that easily.
Oh no, just a tad, a bit.
Yeah.
I figured the on button. The on button took some time.
I remember when the on button was a completely different thing, but I was 16 then. I was just finding out about girls. That was a different on button.
Oh, I was flicking all the switches, whatever I can flick.
Too many flicking going on. So, okay.
Do we need to be PG?
Here's some catching up that we have to do. You live in Trinidad and you have not left Trinidad. You left for some time. You went across to England, if I remember. Yeah. Now the reason why this show is literally, I call it a show, but it's just me trying to figure shit out. The reason it's called I Don't Know Shit is because I was recently I had to sit in to an interview between my daughter and a doc, and he was diagnosing her with ADHD. Like she was asking, the doc was asking her a bunch of questions, and all these questions that they asked to diagnose her ADHD, I was answering, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. So now I realize I have ADHD and my memory sucks butt. I can't remember shit. So all my time, and I know you for what, 35, 30, a long damn time. We know each other. Yeah, way back.
Time.
I can't remember shit. Dude, I can't remember nothing. I
got some stories for you then.
Oh, dude, I remember jumping out of a car with you driving and saying, fuck that, you drive. I'm not driving with you no more. I remember that. But most of the stuff from my life in Trinidad, I can't remember shit.
You used to have a champagne wagon called Betsy. Remember Betsy?
Yes, I remember, Betsy. It was rust-colored Renault 12L station
Rust
wagon. I
color
remember
Renault
that because I had to
had
steal it.
a top speed of like 40.
Yeah, generous. That's
You could,
generous.
if you wash the car, it would fall apart because it was held on by dirt
Dirt and rust.
bacteria. Right.
Yeah,
we were
I
driving
bathed,
up
I
the
bathed a
highway
lot more
once.
often than I washed the car. That's yeah.
Well, yes,
Thank
that is
God.
true. I know. Okay, we were driving on the highway once, and we had Martin in the back, and we pulled over. This is while we're moving next to a watermelon truck, and the
As
guy
you say
said,
that, I
and we said,
remember. Yeah.
all right, and you were driving, and we said, hey, can we get one? And of course, the guy is driving, going, yeah, okay, whatever, yeah, take one, not knowing we mad as us. You pull over, and we're doing about 50 kilometers. And I
Yes.
reach out and I grab the watermelon, and as I'm come back in, he's like, whoa, whoa. And he's
I think I remember this. I remember this because and this is Trinidad. So the driver's side is on the left-hand side of the car. We're driving on a two-lane highway with a median. Yes. I think that's what they call it, a divider. He's in the right lane, we're in the left lane, and we literally were stupid and said, can we take a watermelon? And he expected, you couldn't do it. The back glass where you leaned out of only rolled down halfway.
Halfway.
So you had to squeeze your body through, get the watermelon. I think you passed it to Martin, who was sitting in the front.
And
it's
Martin
when you went for the second
buckle.
one. It's when you went for the second one that he got upset. He's like, take one. The Caribbean was a hell of a time.
This is like the movie Speed with Keanu Reeves. We're doing this at speed.
Yeah.
And you're like, no problem. I want some watermelon. I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. Now, this was before I ever did any drugs. So I can't let my kids see this video because they'd be doing all kinds of wild stuff in my car. I'm not lending them the car.
Let me see. The one time where we went to a music video launch. I don't know who it was doing a music video. You were doing the Condom Sense brand, and the director was telling the crowd, "Hey, be wild, be crazy," because it's a recording for a band launch of music. So be crazy, and then he had to cut and go, "Yo, I meant you two guys in the condom shirts. You're too crazy. Can you dial it back?
Dial it back."
The condom hat, we had the umbrella. He was like, okay, everybody else amp it up, but you two guys need to
calm it down a bit. I remember I now remember that. I used to, because before I became a stand-up comedian, I was creative in other realms, and I did art, and I did t-shirts and batik and tie-dye. And I came out with a line of t-shirts in Trinidad. This is back when they had the AIDS epidemic was real big. So this is what, mid 80s. Yeah. And I came out with shirts that basically said Condom Sense, but it had 3 pockets on it with condoms in it.
Velcro pockets with, you could actually get an actual condom. Oh yeah.
And the Catholics were very happy with me.
Well, these were in the days where you have to be very by the book, very with the grain. You couldn't really speak out against
conservative.
Church. You couldn't really be very conservative.
Yes. Trinidad is a very conservative island. Yes.
Yeah, and we used to go out in parties with and giving out condoms in fetes and
my God,
parties.
Yeah, we call them fetes and brams. You're going to have bram. Yeah, man. Friday night bram go be live, son. Yeah, wow.
Friday, broke out.
All the language, that's another thing that the language that we used to use, my kids now are like, you messed up our childhood because you used, here's the story. This is a true story. Okay. This is so ridiculous. I get a phone call from my daughter's school, right? And they said, your daughter's been injured. Now I'm at work and I'm panicking because I'm like, she's been what? Injured? And they're like, no, not seriously injured, but she's been hurt and we can't figure out where. And I was like, what do you mean you can't? Yeah, this is like, she was, I think, 5 or 6 at the
Are you
time.
getting a phone call and you're like,
Yeah, I'm
you're
like, what do you mean you can't figure out where? They said she bounced her punkalunks.
how old is she? How old is she? Hold on. How old is she?
5 or 6 at the time. And she bounced her
Oh, okay,
punkalunks.
okay.
Now, for those that don't know, punkalunks is it's the Trinidadian
The
term. I don't even know if other
female-
islands say that, but basically vagina, your female bits,
Yeah.
you're right. She bounced her wap, right?
Yeah,
I don't know if they're wap.
part.
That's okay, bad reference. The point is she
Wap,
bounced her
not wap.
private parts, right? So I get a phone call
Yes,
from
the
a
private
poor
part.
Canadian teacher trying to figure out what a punkalunks is. Oh, we laughed for years after that, guy. Years. It was hilarious.
Show me on the diagram where the punkalunks is.
Show me on the teddy bear. Show me on the teddy bear.
Where did the man touch you on the punkalunks?
And that's where I
We say-
learned in Canada to use the right terminology. Otherwise, they're not gonna understand.
Okay, so besides vagina, being very PC, we'll say punky, we'll say vagina. I mean,
Punky, punkle. I remember we used to call it
Punkalunks,
lagly. You remember lagly?
oh my God. Yeah, but
Yeah,
when you're a
lagly
teenager,
was
it's
a
different
term.
it's different to referring to a woman's private area or mine private area. But then when it was your kid, when it's a kid, is different.
You had to
Because
use
things
some
become
word,
sensitive.
right? I mean, every
I mean, how do you tell your 5-year-old child, by the way, you're gonna call us 5-year-old don't say vagina. They want something
no,
cute and
they
daddy,
want a cute
punky.
word. Everything is a cute word, right? So we had a cute word for it. And it just so happens that Canadians don't use this. I had a joke that I used to tell years ago. I used to live downtown Toronto, and downtown Toronto, they had a store that sold hamburgers and ice cream called Licks. And I had to explain to Canadians how traumatizing it was to see a store named Licks.
Take licks.
Because to them, it's an ice
And you pay for
cream,
Licks.
burgers. It's a treat. You go, Daddy, can we go for Licks? That's a treat, right? You talk to a Caribbean
Okay,
man, that's
hold
a
on, Mark.
threat. You want to go for Licks? Are you
That's
out of your mind?
Okay. I'm sweating right now because in the island, in the Caribbean, getting licks is punishment. You're about to get beaten. You're about to get
It's a-
beaten from your next
And a
your,
generous
your
beating,
mom, your dad.
not just not a spanking.
Yeah,
Licks
right.
is a generous
Not a reprimand.
beating. Well, and it
Yeah.
goes back to
A
our
generous
slave trade
helping of-
days.
of-
Yeah,
of-
it was horrible.
right. So punishment and licks.
Yeah,
Licks is like a mass volume of punishment.
it's a step
Until
up.
when your mom's hand gets tired and needs to take a break, licks were over.
Yeah, oh man, the West Indies cricket team getting licks from England. Yeah, licks. That was the word for beatings. My kids never get licks.
So you-
with all of mine, I
right,
never
so,
beat none
Mark,
of them.
Okay, so you went in a store and paid for licks.
Technically, I guess I guess you could say that. I've paid for beatings.
So you paid for beatings. Okay. Just to be
Makes
clear,
no sense.
I want to know your fetish. I mean, you're over 21 and change.
Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Right.
I grew up in the days and the age of comic books, right? I know now we have the movies and everything that we used to watch in comic books are now, Marvel Cinematic Universe, DC United, big shows, Zack Snyder, all of this, big money, billions of dollars being spent on these incredible movies, right?
Love them.
But all we had
Love them,
was
right.
comic books. In the comic book genre, for nerds such as myself, they would talk about things called the origin story. Like Spider-Man's origin story, get bit by a spider. One thing that always interests me is when I talk to other comedians, I want to find out their origin story, how they got started, right? Because in the world of stand-up comedy, people come into stand-up comedy in so many different ways. Like literally, I know lawyers that left being a lawyer, they left the bar to become stand-up comedians. I know people that have been, successful in life.
I don't
And
know
then
why.
choose
Drive
to
a
tell jokes.
have a BMW or travel to work.
Dude.
I'm gonna.
Traveling the world, and then they get into stand-up comedy to be performing in ditzy dive bars where people don't even realize you're going to be doing comedy. You grabbing a mic, they want to cuss you out and throw drinks at you. Like, it's, why would you make that choice? I don't know. But that's the origin story. So I wanted to catch you because you know my origin story and how it started. And I remember a lot, kinda, but ADHD, right? It was you and I.
And of course we're old.
For some strange reason,
We're talking
I remember
about
this.
high school.
DJ Rene, my cousin DJ Rene, was having
at a party.
A fete at Bram.
Anchorage.
At Anchorage.
And then they offered,
which is,
and they offered like an incentive.
Some prize.
It was like instead of having a regular party, they had themed parties. So there was a competition, a lip sync competition. So they invited different people to come up and sing a lip sync, but make it a show. And then they'd rate your performance, and the best team or group won.
Yes.
So we did pretty much everything together back in those days. I mean, even though you were 1 or 2 years above me, we just like doing wild shit. I mean, I love doing wild shit, and you were like, oh, okay, oh, you bend my arm if I have to. So convincing you was easy. And I said I was in. So you were more the brain. To be fair, Mark, I got to give you a lot of credit. You always wanted to do. You were always colorful in the arts, and you were very creative. I wasn't. I was just wild as ass.
Was I doing theater yet?
And you said,
was I already doing theater?
You weren't very good. You weren't very good. I mean,
I still would say I'm not very good. I do background stuff in shows now, I do background stuff in movies and stuff, because you do not want me in the foreground. Background, okay. Foreground, not so much. Not so much. Maybe for my looks, but nothing else.
Okay, Mark. So speaking of looks, so let me tell. So of your two audience, your mom and Dean, of your two audience people, let me explain. How people look at you now. The bald head and the beard. When Mark was in high school, it was reverse. It was clean shaven, and then you had this like a Jesus Goldilocks, a mane.
Yes.
So if a lion was a high schooler, you'd have this gold mane, and it was. And I mean, I always had my hair like military, short, clean.
Yeah.
And so imagine this white boy.
That's because you played sports. I didn't play sports. You played sports, so it's very low.
That's why I got this.
Yeah, for maintenance purposes. Yes. But I was trying to attract females. So I had this lovely, yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Just for let's make a note, this is like pre-Dean, so just in case. So I was like 14, and because of my friend Martin introduced me to you. And we linked up immediately because we were always one-upping each other, looking for the next adventure, the next laugh.
Yes.
So when your cousin proposed this lip sync competition, we're like, hey, we gotta go. We gotta do this.
Yeah, it's like $500.
Yeah.
It was money.
We didn't care about the money. No, we didn't care about the money. We was like, fuck that. Let's go and rock this shit. We heard a couple other people like Philip Alexander and some other friends of ours were also oh God, what's your other friend?
Wow, yes, he entered as well.
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So a couple of friends we knew they were entering. We're just gonna do a regular tune, like lip sync a regular tune. We're like, nah, screw that.
Yes.
Can I say fuck? Okay.
Yeah.
Bleep that shit out.
No, it won't.
Fuck that. Okay.
I bleep it shit.
Okay. In my job, I can't curse. I work with kids. I'm prim and proper.
You still like, back in the oppressive country. Yes, I know. Don't worry about it.
Oh God.
I live in freedom in Canada.
Okay, so when in high school, we were like 15, 16, and we're like, screw this. Let's go for it. Let's be as wild as we can. So instead of doing one song, you spliced a series of songs to make a story.
Yes.
And and you said, my friend Barry Pear, who was teaching you art at the time.
Yes, my mentor in the art, the
Correct,
traditional art world. Yes.
Had a Dame Lorraine costume, which is a fake, like a fake padded bum bum and a fake
Yes.
padded. And so you look like a huge woman, and we put like a big
Yes.
outfit on with the fan and the big summer savannah hat. So it looked,
Yes.
you looked.
I did my days of dressing in drag. Yes.
Right.
My
yes.
kids will never
Look,
believe
okay.
this.
And then
Like,
this-
Daddy, you dressed in drag? Yes,
Right,
I
no.
was in drag. Yeah.
Yeah, but in those days, you couldn't go online and reference drag. Trinidad does
Yeah.
not do, we don't do drag now.
No.
Okay,
Well,
we're
once
still
again, a
straight-
very conservative country where, you know, the
yes.
progressive stuff that we have in North America, they look at it and they'll be like, nah, not us. Somebody else, not us. Yeah.
No.
I think it's
Okay,
still
when I
illegal.
live in-
No, a friend of mine, Jason Jones, actually went against the government in Trinidad to change the buggery laws, because buggery, which but illegal still in
Yeah.
Trinidad on the books, and he got it
Yep.
struck off the books apparently. So kudos to him.
Well done, Jason.
But that is
Yeah.
the conservative nature of the country. Yes. You could
Yeah.
dress in drag
Okay,
for a
so
comedy
picture-
routine.
But if you're on the main street in
Yes.
drag, people look
No.
at you like that.
You
This
get
is a
licks.
problem.
Yeah, that's a beat.
what's wrong with you? you get licks. And even now, I live in England for a number of years and lived in the
Yes.
States. And if you do like a frat boys night out, and you're leprechaun and you dress like a pizza, and you dress like Bugs Bunny, it's all fine. It's all laughs. Do that here, and you want licks.
Yeah,
Something's still
it's-
wrong, and we think of ourselves as open-minded, but we're not.
No. The
I guess
conservative
you're only as
nature of that
open as your
country.
neighbor.
So I got Barry.
Right, so-
I got the Dame Lorraine costume from Barry. Was it Barry?
And you're
No,
like,
it's from
yes.
Godfrey Seeley. I think I got it from Godfrey Seeley. Godfrey Seeley was,
There you go,
may
there
he
you go.
rest in peace
Right.
as well. He had a Dame Lorraine costume because
Yep.
he did theater, and in the theater you had those costumes available. So I borrowed it from Godfrey Seeley.
Right.
Yes. Oh shit!
Okay,
I'm
good.
remembering
Got to
stuff.
reference Godfrey Seeley. Thank you.
Wow.
Good. So Godfrey, I mean, Mark, you were like a big muscular guy then, but picture, I mean, I don't know boob size, but like a 36 is big, but you were like a 49, 53.
No, that was
You
that
were like
was,
out,
that was like a 60. It was huge, literally, because I could have had a buffet pizza lunch out on the chest. It was so big. Same thing with the backside.
With
the
no
backside you had
hands,
to tie
with
on.
no hands.
Yeah.
Oh
and,
yeah.
and it was huge. Yes. Oh my gosh. I haven't
Okay.
remembered this stuff
God,
in
yes,
years.
your backside, you could have carried people by a shuttle without. Yeah, it was. I mean, two people could have sat on the back. It was.
Yeah.
It was massive.
I could have been a minibus
Right.
in
So-
Jamaica giving people rides. it was
Well, you still
big.
can.
Yeah. Those were the days.
Sir Mix-a-Lot would love you.
Oh, yeah.
Sir Mix-a-Lot's songs was all about you.
like
right.
But
So-
to the Cadillac.
Okay, so we had the props. You dressed up like a woman. I played the debonair Bond. You know, I was in a suit. I played like Bond, the male suitor.
Yes.
And you being the brain, and I'll give you a real credit, Mark. You've always been that creative. You said, I got an idea, and we cut pieces of songs together, or cut popular songs at the time together, to create
Yes.
a lyrical
A storyline.
storyline.
A
that
thread for the
people-
story. Yes.
Right. So when you hear when the crowd heard these songs, they could follow and understand
The story.
That, hey,
I
I'm
remember
seeing,
I remember using Hello
oh God,
by Lionel
it was-
Richie. Hello was
right.
the
No, it was
opening
Calling Me
line.
Bad.
You would
Yes.
see me,
It
and
was-
then I would be standing there, the silhouette, and it would start with Lionel
Yeah, yeah,
Richie,
yeah.
hello, or something like that. I can't remember. And that's
yeah, like,
that's
and
how
then Calling Me
the
Bad, like,
suitor
Beautiful Lady.
came. Yeah.
Right. I used the lyrics
Ooh,
in
yeah,
the songs to try and woo you as a
Yes.
performance.
Yes.
And then and then the show was, I thought you were a woman, and the
Yes.
crowd knew you were a man. The crowd
Yes,
knew,
yes.
but you played. You had like the fan, like the old.
It was
declare,
traditional
oh my
mistaken
Lord.
identity. That's what it was.
Right. So the crowd already was losing their mind because here I am trying to sue you, and like I'm in a suit and I'm doing the "Hey, beautiful lady," and
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
using Lionel Richie, and I'm using "Color Me Bad," and I'm using,
Wow.
oh my God, oh, and then we mixed into like
And then I would answer to
Mr.
the
Lover Lover. Yes, you
yes,
answer
I
like,
would
I may
answer
not
to it.
be a lady, but I'm all woman. Like a sari.
No.
Oh my God,
I
these
can't remember the
songs are
song that
lost.
it was, but I think it was a physicality thing where I showed that I pee standing up or something like that.
Yes,
If I remember
you went
correctly,
in
I
the
can't
corner
remember the
and said,
exact song.
and said like, take a pause, hang on, Scott, Scott, stop.
Yeah.
I need to pee, and you peed standing up, and I went,
And then that's when you realized I was a guy. And then you pulled out a strap,
Right,
and then we had another song where you beat me, you give me licks, and then you beat me on stage.
oh, by the way,
Yeah.
just so people know, just for the two people watching, the two people on the audience, we rehearsed.
I'm sure my children will watch.
Sorry, we had no rehearsal. We were like, Mark, you're an actor. I'm crazy, whatever. We put headphones on the maxi up, and we learned the songs going up. We never researched.
Yeah.
You do stage left, I do stage right. So
Yeah, there
when
was
I
no
was
blocking.
beating you, right, we never planned I'm beating you here. So when I got excited, I remember just throwing licks.
No, you actually hit me. I remember that. We used like a leather strap from the dog.
Oh, dogs. Oh,
and you
God.
literally beat me on stage. It was hilarious. And of course the crowd goes wild because everybody else did traditional stuff where they were lip syncing to songs. I think a couple people had a dance routine, so they had, a little more composure, but we went strict comedy.
Like level 1, level 2.
Yeah,
No,
we went straight
were...
comedy, blew the place apart. Then that kind of launched you and I, and we came up with the name Two Drinks Minimum because it took 2 drinks minimum to get us the courage to go on stage.
Oh.
And then from there, we kind of started to do sketch.
Oh, no.
It was more you.
You
You were the one that was nervous. I remember you handing me, like there's a part in the song where you'd hand me this rose and your hand was shaking, trying to hand me the rose.
Oh.
Hilarious.
I was so nervous. My first time on a big show, on a big stage. That was not me. I just said...
But I was
whatever.
a social
It was
whore
fun.
anyway, so I enjoyed every time there's lights on me, I'm like, let's go, right? That's how I was. But it was
I was not.
from you and I doing that basically started the whole idea of you and I doing 2 drinks minimum and emceeing shows, running our own shows. It started off there.
We
And
did
then
a
that
couple
journey-
of shows that we did.
Yeah.
It transformed because instead of doing a lip sync show, I think like there was comedy shows like in South and different. I mean, these are like a club is like 200 people, and so you're doing a show to 200 people. For me, is like wow. But then when we moved to the next level of being invited to like a comedy festival, which is like 5,000 people.
Yes.
I needed more. I need like 2 bottles minimum because now we were amongst a list of greats, comedy greats.
Yep. Because in Trinidad and in the Caribbean on the whole, comedy, it wasn't the star of the show. Comedy was also an addition to a show, but it wasn't the star of the show. People who do emceeing or people who are doing comedy in Trinidad, it traditionally leaned towards the sketch comedy and the theatrical type performances. Guys dressing up in drag, guys dressing up as a drunk guy, guys acting out. It was never really the stand-up comedy that I wanted to do, which is the Richard Pryor, the Red
Pure
Fox,
comedy, pure comedy.
pure stand-up. I'm talking about my life kind of comedy. There was only one comedian in
Yeah,
Trinidad
no
that
frills.
had that. And that was, in my estimation, it was Sprangalang. Sprangalang was by all means a traditional type stand-up comic, though with a Caribbean kind of lean. But he was the only one I looked at that I was like, he's doing the kind of thing that I wanted to do. Right. I started off.
Agreed.
We started off together in the sketch
Timing.
but in the long run, I started to lean towards the proper genre or the proper art form of stand-up comedy. You know, the Chris Rocks,
Well,
the Dave Chappelle's. That's my style.
Well, Mark, you've always been, I mean, we were hanging out and doing wild stuff on and off the stage, but you'd walk with a sketch pad and you'd be making notes and logging stuff down before we go party, or you used to walk with like a man bag, like a leather purse, and you'd always be making these notes all the freaking time. You had like
dude, my kids harass me about me. Dude, my kids harass me about that now, you know. I bought my wife a leather one recently, right? What they call fanny packs or Mercedes, men's purses.
No, fanny pack. You had like a proper leather one made.
Have them now. I still have them. I still take notes. The amount of notes that I still take to this day, guy. We talk about 40 years later. I'm still doing that nonsense.
Well, why not? I mean, I use my phone. I make digital notes, but it's
I do too, but there's a difference with writing it down. Yeah. Writing it down.
When you write it down, it's double memory. It becomes...
Apparently, there's something psychological involved. When you write it down, you actually read it 3 times or something like that. So it puts more into your memory than just jotting it down digitally. That's what they say. I don't know.
No,
I could be wrong. They could be wrong. It could be fake news. Okay. I don't know. Fake news. It works for me. Okay. With my ADHD, it works for me.
Right. Grabbing your coattails is a hell of a thing, but I locked arms with you and I was happy to go on that journey because one, I was up for an adventure and it was wild. As a teenager,
it was fun.
Looking for wild shit, you know? It's lots of fun. And I had my sport to keep me company, but I always knew you were the tip of the spear because you wanted to go places on stage that I didn't really want to be. I was happy to be your partner, your sidekick, but I never wanted to take lead and be there as a comedian. So I'm glad
you know what? Listen, here's the thing that I would say. I mean, I had my brief stint in Trinidad with sports, right? I used to play cricket. I used to play soccer. I was a goalkeeper for my school side, right? But in terms of going and advancing yourself in the Caribbean at that time, not now, but in the Caribbean at that time, advancing itself in sports, if you didn't make the national side, you couldn't really have a career, right? They didn't have any sports clubs that were playing against each other. Man United against Liverpool, they didn't have no big structure in terms of that. It was, you played in school, the school played against a different school, and if you don't make the national team, that's the end of your career. So I saw that in sports, I wasn't really going to go anywhere. I knew that in school, I wasn't really doing much inside of school because of the ADHD. And that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But I saw this as something that I enjoyed and I was showing a glimpse of some sort of talent within it. So I kind of jumped into it because it kind of showed me that it had the potential to grow. And eventually, I mean, after years of doing what we were doing with La Caja Fall, what was the name of the Café des Artistes? That's what it's called. Café des Artistes, Ragus, all these little bar areas where we were doing little shows and stuff like that.
All little stepping stones that take you on the path.
It could have taken me further. That's when me and the wife, Dean, looked at maybe we should move out of this country and pursue this. And to make that jump is a huge jump, but it was a jump that I thought, hey, there's some potential for something building on this.
Okay. You told me about your friend, the lawyer who became a comedian. It's the same for me.
Have a
I could
couple
have
of
gone
them.
and done
Yeah.
right. I could have worked in marketing and a tie. You have to, at some point, it's time over money. If you want to work for somebody and make a consistent salary, great for you. But from early, we both did not want to clock in those hours. You sold cloth and batik because you refused to work for the man.
Yes.
You refuse to.
Yeah.
You refuse to. Why do I have to clock in to earn a salary when my passion is driving something else? So your creative juices were flowing all the time. With me, sport. I was not an athlete, but sport paid my bill, and sport still does. I mean, I have my own development company. I teach kids. I have a triathlon team. I have a bike club. I do archery and fencing. I mean, I do development stuff across the board. Where if you told me in high school, well, Scott, you weren't any good as an athlete, so forget sport.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's at some point you have to decide. Okay, I'm not going to make as much if I do this route, but it's my passion, it's my love, it's my drive. And I can work
Yes.
7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I can work double time. I don't care because this fuels me, it drives me. And that was you in theater, in stage, in art. Let's just say art, because
Yes.
you also painted.
In the arts, yeah.
Correct. So in the arts, that was your drive. That was your creative passion. And you also, you lived a life of not being a cookie cutter. You actually lived
Yes.
your life socially. Like, how can I not be out, not outside the box? I want to be outside the triangle. I don't even have a fucking box.
Yeah, yes. I kind of saw in the earlys that I didn't fit into the traditional mold. And now look at me, I'm 51 now and just figured out that I'm ADHD. But had we figured it out now in the Caribbean, in Trinidad, ADHD didn't exist, first of all, at that time. I think at that time we might have had the designation of ADD, which I think I made a joke about too. In the Caribbean, ADD stands for another damn reason for discipline. Give him some licks, you straighten up, right? The answer to someone who bounces off the wall was beat them, right? That's what we did in the Caribbean. We beat them. So even though I didn't fit in,
Stifle them, put them in a, yep.
Yeah, I saw that I fit in other places where the brain was working better in that arena. It wasn't working in the structured scholastic manner. So yes, I tended to drift across to the arts, did well in the arts. And I'm so glad now that kids are growing up now. And I can't say for back home, but I could say for my kids up here in Canada. Kids are growing up now where they have the ability to be recognized for the style in which they learn, right? Because the learning styles, there are auditory styles, there's visual styles, there's different ways that they learn. They learn in the manner in which that they learn because the teachers are much more versed. They can teach them in that manner that they could learn better. I didn't grow up with that.
Yeah.
So I had to take the avenues that were available to me at that time. They have a lot more avenues. I had a lot less back in my days. So I worked with what I had. The rusty bucket of a car, I worked with what I had.
Okay, but look at the simple of technology in terms of information. When you were in high school, you went to school locally in Trinidad, didn't you?
Yes, Fatima College.
You went Fatima.
1980 to 1985. Then St. Joseph College from 86 or something like that.
Right. So after high school, I went abroad. Okay. I went to the States. And I remember having to write home, dear mom, love you, send money. It took a week. It took a week for the letter to get home. She'd write back, I love you too. I have no money. Suck it up. And it took another week to come back. When now you can I can talk to you. I can pull up WhatsApp. I can Google a comedy line. I can
look
pull
at them in the face.
Some piece of tech because of my phone. Oh my God. The information is immediate. Where for us to research stuff, we actually have to go and work. It took us a day to research. Where now you can just pull up your phone and go comedic phrases and taglines and sports, how to drag flick hockey ball, how to defend
Yes.
a straight punch, how to fire a bow in archery. It's
Yeah.
all immediate.
You have, which is what I tell my kids now, you have the ability now to learn anything you want to learn. It's also why I tell them to do anything that they want to do. If you have a passion for, and I've literally said this to one of my children, I was like, if you want to be a stripper, I'll buy a pole. We'll practice in the basement, but you'll become the best stripper in the world because you'll look at all the strippers and then you'll amalgamate all their thoughts. You'll get some biographies of strippers and documentaries, but you have the ability to take in information
Belgium
from
versus
all,
the Americans versus the Germans.
yeah.
Yep,
All over the world, you could take in the information and never have to go into a structured learning environment like a school to learn this. I mean, education doesn't exist in four walls and a ceiling. Education is everywhere. You can take in. They've said, I've heard this said before, but break dancing evolved so much quicker because the internet, because break dancers in South Korea would break dance in a certain way. African breakdancers would breakdance and put in some of their cultural movements, right? North Americans had their thing with their Caribbean diaspora coming to the US and those things. But once the internet was introduced, you could see all over the world. So all of a sudden there's an explosion in the skill set of a breakdancer because they've learned from people all over the world that they've never met, right? And this is what I tell my kids. You have now this incredible thing called the internet where you could amalgamate the thoughts, principles, life experiences of people all over the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's glorious, but I had a book, I had a library, and I had pages.
Yeah, but also
maybe pictures.
You had to go out and, but you went and you beat the street and you learned it on, or you made the mistakes over and over and over. Because there was no immediate informational guide for you to stop breaking your neck over and over and over. So in Trinidad, we say burn to learn, which means idiot, stop doing it, you idiot. After 10 times, surely you understand that's the wrong path.
Yes. When you hit your head against the wall.
You pull up YouTube, right. Okay, so a guy in Ontario would make a mistake once and go, oh, this is how you skateboard off, and then the second time he'd be good. Where no, jackass, for 10 hours I am doing this shit days after days after days to try and get this skill down. But there's the methodology. What it teaches is discipline, not immediate gratification, but because I need to do it over and over and over, I become true to my craft because I'm putting my time, I'm plugging in. So even though the technology was different, what I got out of it is, if I want something, work for it.
So basically what we're doing is a masterclass in teaching people, don't be like us. you could get better by research. Don't be like us, just
don't be us.
Yeah, don't just jump in the water. Look at people swimming. Maybe pick up a technique or two. Don't just drown.
www.notscott.com/Mark's an Idiot. Okay.
Well, I mean, that burn to learn thing was something my dad used to say to me all the time because I've done some stuff to remember. Okay, so remember Betsy? We were talking about Betsy. I didn't know you had to put oil in it. So I seized the engine. Because I didn't put oil regularly and routinely. There was no internet to teach me about oil changes. I didn't know. I just drove the damn car.
So did you put the lotion on? Did you like eventually put the oil on?
Dude, I warped that engine so bad. Apparently, there's a level to which you have to shave down the head of the engine after you warp it because there's no oil to cool it. And the guy had to shave it down something like 80,000 or something like that because I jacked it up so badly. And I say this because my kid might be driving my car soon. Oil changes on a monthly basis. Okay, it's $40. Don't chinks on the oil changes. So yeah, I had to burn to learn. I used to make mistakes on a regular guy. That's why my parents That's why I have to give thanks for my parents, because they had 3 regular children, and then they had me. I was in the middle, and I was kind of crazy, and I could imagine the amount of stress that I gave them. I mean, I don't think my mom's hair would have been that gray that early if not for me. That's what I did to them.
Is it patience versus misunderstanding versus misguided?
I think at some point you give up.
Or
You just my parents just gave up. They're like, that's just who he is. Let's just deal with it, right? So just give up.
Yeah, but okay, but I have to say, I mean, I know we both know our parents very well. I mean, we both grew up in each other's yard, if you will. We both grew up driving each other's, so we knew we were real close, not just as friends, but we my mom very well. I knew Margaret, I knew your dad very well. I knew your brothers.
Yes.
So it was a family. So when you told anybody in the family with Scott, they went, "Oh fuck!" Not just once, but
yes,
oh god.
Yes. I'm pretty sure your mom said that about me, and my mom said that about you. Oh, you went with Scott.
Correct.
Oh, you went with Mark.
Mad as ass. Oh, God. Right. So
the trouble we would get into.
For example, right. So if you would have messaged now, like let's say you message my mom, "Oh, it's okay, mom. I have your son. We're going to church." And before you finish the sentence, she'd be like, "You lying bastard."
Yeah.
We know. Right.
Church what?
So you're
going to the church parking lot.
So,
you're not going to the church. Yeah.
Okay. So as a supporting role, even though we were misunderstood or not being supported fully, our parents did give us a lot of leeway in terms of being entertainers and being mad as ass.
Yeah, and they kept the leash long, right? There still was a leash where they would say, "Hey, calm down," right?
Yeah.
But the leash was long, and I've heard horror stories from other people about how their parents were a little different when their kids started to look at the arts or started to spend too much time with an individual that they may not like, or playing a sport that they didn't want them to play, or whatever it is, right? But our parents were a lot more. They weren't what the term is now. I think drone parenting or helicopter parents. Our parents didn't hover around us. They let us go.
They give us a lot of.
We grew up as free range children. I think that's the term now. Free range. We were free range children. We were allowed to roam, right? But the same slave mentality. Yes. Come back home before the lights on the street were on.
Or else licks.
Or else licks.
Okay. Picture. I remember us going to Tobago. Must have been some show or whatever, with Renee, and we had to sleep on the stairs in Jimmy's. We never booked a room, and we ended up sleeping on the staircase, and we ended up getting in trouble with some girl because she wanted to take your bag of clothes and throw it in the ocean.
This was before the coup.
Yes.
We were working for Renee as guys who used to lift the speakers at the time.
Correct. Yeah.
And we used to work with that crazy. Renee had a crazy driver who used to drive the truck that used to carry the speakers around. Chinese and the dreadlock fella. I can't remember the names.
Right.
But
we learned about
he was like
dumpling, and we learned about.
Yeah. He was like a different kind of alcoholic. He was like Yoda level. Right, where he was old, seasoned. If they cremated him, his body would burn for years. Right? He was alcoholic beyond belief and driving a truck with us in it. Yeah, I remember Chinese. May he rest. I don't know if he's still alive, but good man.
May he rest in peace. We don't know if he's alive.
I don't know if he's alive or not, man. I don't know. But he was a good soul.
Okay. Then.
Oh shit! Yeah, I haven't thought about that in years.
Right. Okay. So because of the latitude our parents gave us and us being in the arts and sport, it created a level of confidence and a level of experience that most teenagers now, I'm sure your kids, my daughter is 16, and as great as our kids are, they're still sheltered. because at 15 we could jump in a car and take a taxi and travel and go here and there, and those experiences made us quicker, smarter, more
Yes.
creative, more adaptive.
Yes.
And so that
Exposure
leads
does
to the being.
this is what a bad time to talk about exposure in the middle of a pandemic. But the exposure of traveling, whether it be to a different city, a different country, just a different person's house,
Yep.
you learn so much more than you could ever learn in a book, because you get to, I've always told my kids, a great thing is to watch a 3D rendition of the pyramids, right? But it's another thing to smell the sand, right? The sun burning you, to understand how these guys built this thing in that kind of climate. It's a different thing to watching it on the screen, and it's another thing to be sweating where other people have sweat before, right? You learn differently when you get to travel around. And another thing, my eldest daughter has a pen pal in Japan. I don't think they call them pen pals anymore. A friend, because nobody writes with a pen anymore. But a friend in Japan that I told her, I'll put you on a plane. Go to Japan. I'm not taking you Japan. I'm sending you Japan. Go by yourself, because if you get off a train and mommy and daddy or anybody who has knowledge of a place is standing next to you, you don't look around in the same manner when you know you have a support crew, right? When you by yourself, you look and you take things in on a different level when you by yourself. That's why I send my kids, I've sent my kids to like Comic Cons where thousands of people who are into comics and cartoons and anime, and they go to this convention, and I think there's like 30,000 people that walk through there. I drop my kids off. I'm like, you have your phone? All right, 6 o'clock, I'll be here in the car park to pick you up, but this is where you're going to be. Don't leave, bam. And I leave them, because you learn differently. Now, this is not when they were little tiny kids. They were a little bit older. So nobody be sending no messages to the government saying Mark mistreats his kids, right?
We're responsible parents of a certain age.
Yeah, you need to learn how to be able to carry yourself, cross a street by yourself. These are things that you have to learn by yourself. Right? Caribbean parents, we weren't like that. They hold your hand to cross the street. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it the first and second time. But after that, trust me, you're on your own. You'll never grow until we take those, training wheels off.
The training wheels off. Yep, I agree. That was me early. I always remember from a kid, my mom, my dad, they were very pragmatic. They said, no, you got to learn, you got to, what they call street sense versus book sense.
Yes.
Bit of book.
You have to be able to learn. You can't learn to swim with a book. You gotta throw in the water at some point.
But little nuances you pick up. You can, if you stop a taxi, well, in Canada, I think taxis go door to door, correct? So they go from point A to point B.
Yes.
Right.
We have route taxis in Trinidad.
Right. So you have to walk to a certain area, and a taxi will drop you not to your destination, but along the set highway. So if you're a mile off from your destination, you have to stop at that location and then walk in a mile, because those aren't destination to destination taxi. I don't even know how you call it.
Our taxis in Trinidad were like the buses. They drove a certain route. And you would pay, you'd have to literally walk to that route that they were driving, pay them, and then get in, and then drive along that route. And it might not be stopping next to the building you want to, but that's the route. And you jump out at a spot where you think the walk is shortest, and you walk from there.
Yes.
But they operate like a bus.
And those little things that you pick up from reading a taxi, if you're a young lady and you stop a car and you see 3 men in the car, okay, no, never mind, go ahead.
Yes.
It's a read. Nuances, those little things that you pick up as a teenager, as a boy or a girl. You pick up little things, how to read the street in terms of safety and the evolution
body
of your
language, intonations when people speak. You hear things differently.
You ask a guy, okay, if we both take our kids to the mall, and we know when we ask for a hamburger, it's $20, or in your case, it's 3 Canadian. But if your kid goes and they might say, well, oh, it's $100. Oh, your kid like, Dad, give me $100, and here you go, $100. No, but now they pick up the, no, it can't be $100. No, a burger's 3 Canadian. So they understand, and I did with my daughter. The street things are being lost because of crime and because of the evolution of technology. We're going so fast, so quickly, that we miss these little opportunities to experience.
Yes, these wonderful little things. But, you know, by the same token, and I look at people who reached our age that always quarreling about it was better back when we were younger. I was like, no, it wasn't better. It was different. I can't say better because there are things now that you have to look at and say, wow, we've really advanced. Now, I know a lot of people who might be religious or who might be culturally want to stay with things that they used to do it back in the days. Listen, every society moves forward and advances. Right? Some slower than others, some faster than others, but it moves ahead. There are things that kids do now that I look at and I'm like, man, I wish I had that when I was a kid, right? But there's also things that I look at and I'm like, yo, I'm so glad we didn't have, like you and me would be the kind of people that would say, I am so glad there were no cameras around when we were kids, because the shit we used to get into, if they caught that on camera, they'd be canceling us for generations down our lineage, right? Because the things we did.
Yeah, our kids would be able. Our kids have been barred from places because of what they should do.
Listen to me. My brother, my brother went to Fatima College. I went to Fatima College. My younger brother didn't go to Fatima College because the things that me and my brother did at Fatima College, they canceled my name. Our last name was canceled from the college. He had to go Trinity because they were like, no more of that name here. No, because they learned, right? If we were caught on camera with the things that we used to do.
We've had 10 years. I'm sorry.
No more. No. That DNA has to be taken out of the gene pool. Stop that now.
But I'm glad. Because you can't hashtag Scott as a teenager. I was in church, dude. I wasn't, if anybody asked, I was in church. I was reading a Bible. I walked grannies. I walked homeless. I gave shelter to homeless dogs. I gave, if anybody asked, because you can't prove a thing. I mean, I volunteered.
Where is the video? Where is the video?
Can't prove it. There's no hashtag Scott was drinking and no.
I'm so glad. I didn't want to call names, but I was so glad that we did not live in that time, right? We didn't have the ability to be tracked and to be traced and to recall, because I would not have a career now. And you probably wouldn't be able to have one either. So good and so glad we didn't have that when we were growing up. Thank you very much. So, but you know, it's I see what's going on now, and I'm still an optimist because I see what's going on now, and I still think it's a pendulum that moves left and right, and over time it tends to swing too far, but it'll swing right back, and eventually it'll find the median point where I know a lot of people want to quarrel about they quarrel about the BLM's gone too far or the Antifa's gone too far and all of this kind of stuff they want to talk about. I'm like, right now we're in a transitionary phase. We're gonna find a happy medium, right? It might be before the asteroid hits the planet. It might be after. I don't know, but we're gonna find a happy zone where we will all be able to coexist happily. I'm an optimist, man.
God, you know something? Trinidad. Okay, I've lived across the globe, right? I went to school in the States. I live in England recently, and I'm back home in Trinidad. So I've traveled, And
Yes.
thanks to Google and YouTube, you can see the world. I mean, you can get an understanding of
Yes.
Japan. You spoke about your daughter. You get a better understanding of Japan by pulling up some YouTube clips and Googling, but it's not as good as being there because Japan is beautiful.
Yes.
But I can get an idea.
Yes.
That sweet spot you're talking about is people want people want the money and the happiness and everything and the glory immediate.
Yes.
Okay, we're in a hard part. We have terrorism, we have wars, we have homelessness, we have COVID. It's a year of COVID. My God. People say, I want to go back to normal. And you know what? Fuck that.
What's normal?
No, Mark, let me explain.
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to define normal.
Yeah. Okay. I don't want to go back to normal. I want a new normal. I am happy that I have family. They're safe. I am able to work so I can achieve a certain amount of income and pride from working. And I can be active. I mean, not now because I'm an etch-a-sketch.
Recovering, yes.
Recovering. But I'm not trapped in a box. I can still have a level of life and civility, and this for me is my normal. I have to deal with shit. Yes, there's shit all over the damn world. It's time and money. It's patience. It's passion. It's understanding. It's drive. I am happy right now with how, I mean, I'd love another dollar. I'd like them to solve COVID and homelessness and feed the animals and whatever, but I'm okay.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
being able to look at your scenario and know that, listen, there's a lot of people that would kill to be in the position that I am in today, right? Now, in terms of on a worldwide level, because we've been exposed to news from all over the world, right? We can see that North America, Caribbean, Europe, Australia, anybody can be able to pull up at any point in time and see there's somebody in the world that has it worse than me. I have electricity, right? I have the ability to walk. I have the ability, I have a family around me. I have all these things, but there are some people that don't, right? So I'm in a position where I should be thankful for what I have, not regret the fact that I missed something or regret that I don't have something. I'm blessed. I use that term hesitantly because I know it gives connotations of religion and I don't want to give that connotation. I'm in a good position. I want to be able to look at what I have and say, I'm in a good position. There's people with a lot worse. So I can approach everybody that I meet with a smile on my face because there's a lot more people in this world that are suffering. And I don't want to spread my, bad ideas or malcontent with things that I do have or anxiety for things I want to change. I don't want to spread that. I want to spread the fact that I'm gracious. I'm happy for where I'm at. I'm happy for what I have, and I've lived a good life. So I rather spread that in the world than I didn't get the part in this movie. Blah 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 blah. Shut up.
Okay. I am very PC to where you remember. I am trapped by society because I work with kids. So I can't be that 17-year-old guy that like a frat party, on the wall drinking rum.
Yeah, but you're not anymore.
Anyway, but
yeah, you're not anymore.
No.
You've grown.
Yeah. No, it wasn't then now.
You've matured.
Yeah, I've grown. No, I've grown. So I'm
you're
so
groaning when you fell off the
Caribbean
bicycle and damaged your shoulder. That's when you're grown. GROAN. Oh.
GRO, not GRO. Okay, let's be clear. I love who I am. Yes, I want to be better. I want to make another dollar. Okay, yes, I have drive. I have determination. But I'm happy with who I am, even though I make mistakes and I mess shit up.
Yes.
I love my life. My life is empowerment. My life is development. I get to make others better. And making others better is glorious to me. And I'm not religious. I'm not spiritual. I don't need to go to church and clock into God or a God. And I can sit down with a Muslim and a Hindu and a Rasta and have a meal and
Yes.
not be in conflict. Because
Yeah, we do that
I'm
all the time in the
respectful.
Caribbean. Yes. In Trinidad, that's why I'm thankful for growing up that way, because
Yes.
I didn't grow up with the division that we see now being played out in different parts of the world. When growing up in Trinidad, because we're such a melting pot of people, you can't look at anybody and claim that they are this or that. Because nobody black is all black, nobody white is all white, nobody Asian is all Asian, right? And everybody eating a hodgepodge of everybody's different foods, and everybody's participating in different cultures, and black man going to Pagwa, but that's a Hindu celebration, right? There's so many different things that we put together because that's who we were growing up at that time. Now I know it's a little bit different, but that's not how we were raised. It's a different culture, different diaspora, different nuances in terms of what we learned and got to participate in, as opposed to the North American and different countries, what they're going through. We didn't get that. It was so foreign to us. It was so different.
Oh yes, it still is, because I got a joke about I'm a white man with a black man trapped in my body with a Chinese
people.
You know
yeah, that's a Caucasian. Yes, I remember that joke quite well.
Caucasian, right? Right. And so therefore you probably have it harder because you find it harder.
Dude,
Okay.
no.
You have to be PC.
No.
Do you need to be PC? Are you PC?
No, even with all the things that are going on now with political correctness and a lot of comedians getting in trouble, there's been court cases for comedians that have said things on stage and somebody in the crowd being insulted or felt triggered by something that a comedian has said. So it's gone to the level of we taking this to court. I'm not that comedian. There's some comedians that will try to change their styles. I've never been that one. I've always been very outspoken. This is my opinion. Let it fall where it falls, because you figure out which side of the fence you want. It's okay. I've had in my career, I've literally said things on stage and people in the front row have thrown drinks at me, right? Because I've said some things that triggered them, and that's okay. That's all right.
You're like, oh,
yeah, that's all right. You have an opinion, and as do I, and everybody has a right to their opinion. Mine might not align with yours. Yours might not align with mine. That's okay. No problem. But we still have the ability to have conversation and discourse. Right? We should be able to talk about it.
Correct. Mark, I remember very clearly that we have disagreed a lot.
Yes, you and I have disagreed on a few things, but that's normal. That's what relationships are all about.
Correct. It's jostling for who wants to be right or give in at the time. If you want a soft drink and I want water, if you want the cold or I want hot, it's always, we're not cut from the same cloth. So at some point we are going to disagree. But can you disagree respectfully and go, okay, Mark, I don't want to go to a Hindu festival, but tomorrow is fine.
Yeah, I find people, and I don't want to say it on here because I have an idea for an album name, but people just can't seem to understand nowadays that there's nuance in everything, right?
Agreed.
If we get caught up on the fact that something is right or something is wrong, you have to look at, all right, these two terms, right and wrong. Okay, let's go with right. How can you define something as right? We could spend years just trying to figure out what right is, right? Right at what age? Right at what location?
Right at what time?
Right at what time, right? There's so many ways that we could look at this word right or this word wrong and try to figure out, okay, wrong in what culture, wrong in what time, wrong in what, trying to figure out what is right and wrong. People are getting caught up on, but they've already decided what is right and what is wrong. I'm like, you can't
Okay,
make that
but I'm not
decision
being
because
judged.
right and wrong
Yeah, but
means so many different things at different times, different cultures, different ideologies, different. You can't. You just can't make that distinction. What you can do
but
is say,
at
isn't
the
that
same point,
interesting? I love
correct.
saying,
Okay,
isn't that interesting?
all right, Mark, you are very interesting, but if we disagree, I don't have to lose the plot and lose the ship, because if I'm disagreeing with you on anything, politics, religion, that's normally the top two things, right? I have to
Yeah,
then
normally.
trust. I trust in, okay, what is Mark's, forget Mark's point. I disagree with Mark's point. But Mark, as a man, isn't a protagonist and isn't an ignorant, selfish asshole.
Right.
So let me just
So
let
you're
me just
looking at the
trust in
history of
him.
the individual having a conversation with you.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'll bow to that. I'll say, you know what? Okay, hold on. We disagree, but because I know you're a good dude, I'll bow, I'll give in to you, and we will move on.
Yeah.
In
You
Trinidad,
look at the
we
history
tend,
between the two individuals and take that into consideration. That's part of the
okay,
nuanced
okay,
discussion. Who are you
right
talking
here,
with? Yeah.
when we disagree here, it's almost like, forget what, hold on, how the hell do you want Pepsi and I want Coke? Are you mad?
And this is just
want
the time that we are in right now culturally, and it's not a geographic thing, so it's not
yeah,
isolated to
but
Trinidad. That's a worldwide level right now where people
thank you.
are
It's,
just in
how
that
dare
spot now.
I
Yeah.
disagree?
How could
Yeah,
you
but
not
Mark,
like,
if
you know,
I,
some people be like, how could you be like, how could you like Trump? How could you like Pelosi? How could you like PNM? How could you like NJAC? How
okay,
could you, there's always, how
okay,
could
okay,
you
okay,
like,
okay. You know what? Let's raise some dust here. I don't understand ice hockey. I said it to all you Canadian fans. I love to watch ice hockey.
yeah,
I just don't get it.
I
I will go to
see,
a game tomorrow.
yeah,
Yep, but I don't get it.
I enjoy the sports endeavor, right? The physicality. I watch people play it. I don't play it at all. I tried skating once. Ice hurts when you fall. So I never
Ice
went back
belongs
to
in
it.
rum.
So I could respect the sports endeavor, the physical endeavor of it. I get it. I could respect the fact that culturally you guys grew up on it. This is part of your passage in life. I'm from the Caribbean. I don't get. I can respect it, but that doesn't mean I have to participate in it. You understand?
Right.
I could look at
You know,
you and
I
say
love,
it's good
no,
for you,
I love
even
sport.
though,
I
and I'm showing
understand.
off, I'm wearing my Terminator hockey jersey, right? From my good
Is that a
friends,
team or that just,
GeekyJerseys. But
oh,
I
okay,
harass
Geeky
them all the
Jerseys.
time. I'm like, could you make some more baseball jerseys? Because I'm not really into the hockey. Baseball is kind of like cricket. Let me get some cricket jerseys. So I quarrel with them all the time, but I still don't have a problem with it. You know what I mean? It's just that oh, that's yours. I respect the fact that that's yours. No problem, right?
Correct.
I don't have to
I
hate
respect,
stuff. There's too many people that
no,
want to hate stuff nowadays. And I'm like, you don't have to. That's a lot of energy that you're burning for nothing.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And then at the same time, I am very respectful in terms of people's cultures. I may not understand, but I respect people's cultures. I've traveled, and one thing I've understood, if you are Muslim or you're Hindu or you're Catholic, okay, I understand, maybe I don't fully understand you in terms of your religion or your politics or your beliefs, but because I respect in you, that should be enough to carry forward. I'm sorry, I can't appreciate everybody I'm now meeting.
Yes.
It
Yes.
takes time.
This is why I've always told my kids, when you travel, I really don't think that racism could exist if more people left their yard and traveled. Because when you travel a lot, as you and I have, yes, as you and I have traveled quite a bit, right? The more you travel, the more you meet people, it's the more you start to realize that we are all the same. We're all trying to achieve a greater level of whatever we're involved in, right? We want to achieve more. to create more, to have a solid structure around us so that we can protect our siblings, our children, our family, whatever family unit that you have. I don't care if it's gay, white, black, straight, trans, it doesn't matter.
We want to principles are the same.
Yeah, we want to be able to protect our loved ones, right? And I don't give a jack who your loved one is. I really don't. There's a little bit of a challenge with the age differences. I have a problem with some of that, right? But you know what? You should have the right to be able to love who you want to love, live where you want to live, and provide in a manner that is not infringing on someone else's, not stealing, liberty. Right? Being able to do that. We're all the same. I read a book on a particular astronaut. I can't remember his name right now. I think it was Hatfield, Canadian astronaut. He's like, the astronauts have a different worldview, not just a view out looking out a window, but they have a different worldview of the planet, because they are the ones that have been like 6 miles in the air, in the atmosphere, looking down and realizing that borders between countries do not exist on that level. They look down and all they see is blue and green. So it's either land or water. That's the only distinction that they have. So they look at the world and see a worldview as all these other things that we think are important are all constructs in your mind. It's something that somebody else gave to you. He's Turkish, you're Australian. No, it's not. You're on the ground or you're in the water. There's the difference that they see. Everything else has been created by people, right? Absolve yourself of all of that nonsense and just look at, this is a man or woman or non-binary that's trying to advance themselves to be able to keep their family unit together and healthy and safe. That's it. That's what we all are when you break it down to the raw tenets.
Okay. There's a saying called bat in your crease. A very Caribbean
batting in your crease. That's a cricket term for all the non-cricket people out there. Stay in your lane, I think is the
stay in your lane.
Yeah, stay in your lane, yo.
It's being respectful to, I'm living my life, if I'm wild and carefree or I'm not, I'm living my life. And as much as I want to live, I have to be respectful to the person next to me who is living their life. And I can't hinder or be negative or cast judgment and doubt in terms of affecting them, because if I am now loud and negative and I'm abrasive, it now affects them being in their lane. So batting in your crease is, I want to move forward, but I want to move forward and adventure and learn stuff and share stuff, but yet be positive to people next to me and be motivational in terms of, you got a flat tire?
Yes.
Let me stop and let me help you out, because I love humanity. I love doing that, because I believe in karma.
Here's something that changed my perspective completely when it was given to me, right? And it deals with being able to, you have your values, somebody who you look upon differently has their values, but it's your perspective of it that changes everything completely. All right. A guy gets onto a train and there's a guy already in the train car already. So, but he has his kids with him and these kids are tearing up. I mean, just behaving real wild inside of this train, right? Brats, just being little bitches, right? And he comes on into that and he sees the guy not doing anything, but he's thinking it's his kids just tearing up the place. And he sits down and he looks at it. And because of his culture, he's like, this is not the way children are supposed to behave, right? So this is his culture. So he gets upset with it because he's putting his culture upon the other guy, right? Okay. Eventually, over time, he turns to this guy and says, yo, talk to your kids, man, because they're starting to infringe on my personal being able to enjoy the quiet of the train. I'm in my thoughts here, and your kids are messing all of that up. Okay, so you could see the dynamic that's taking place, right? The kids tearing up, one guy calm, one guy getting not so calm. Okay. What happens next is that the perspective changes because the guy he spoke to about his children turns to him and he says, oh, yes, I should really talk to them. I just got out of the hospital. Their mom just passed away. I haven't figured out how to tell them yet. Now, all of a sudden, culture goes out the window. This guy now starts to get empathy towards the other gentleman because he's like, if I was in that position, what would I do? You know what? I understand completely. My condolences to you and your family. Don't worry about it, right? All of a sudden, everything within him changed completely. His culture is still there, but his culture gets pushed back to the side because he starts to understand on a human level what this man is going through.
Yep.
Right? This is what I find we are missing nowadays. We are missing the ability to look at what somebody else is going through, push our needs and our desires and our culture to the back a little bit, just so that we could understand what's going on, so that we could empathize and understand, and maybe then try to find a way to correct whatever problems that there is going on. But everybody has their own thing and is just trying to climb on top of each other right now. I'll win. It's all about winning now. And it's not winning.
You know what? Okay. There's lessons to be learned besides the trophy of winning. It's empathy and compassion. And,
for your fellow human being.
Correct. I said karma. If I didn't tell you before, I was riding around Tobago, fell off my bike really bad, broke my collarbone. Okay?
Yes.
So this is surgery. They put a plate. So I've done the full hospital thing, right? While I was in hospital, I missed, when I logged into the ECU, I missed meals. So I was hungry. And because how I sat down in the waiting room, waiting to be admitted, before I missed the meal. And they were about to fast me for surgery the next day. So of course, I'm hungry, about to be put on fast. Let me skip back. Because I was polite in how I behaved, talking to the security guard outside, he overheard me and said, well, I'll go next door and buy a sandwich for you next door. So a security guard in a hospital is, because I was respectful and I was listening to him. I think his son was, Michael was his son's name. He wanted to learn how to ride a bike. And when we were talking about sport, I said, well, listen, I can help you out. I can give you my number afterwards and I'll help your kid, you know? So because we were sharing a moment and I was being empathetic and hearing his story. Now it's my turn. He's like, hold on, you're hungry? Because of course they couldn't feed me. The hospital had a strict guideline. They couldn't feed me because they served dinner at 7 o'clock and it was now at 8:30.
Yes.
And I'm not. So, and I'll come midnight, I have to be on fast. I can't be fed because of surgery.
So
now I have 4 hours and I can't leave the hospital. I can't leave the ward because I have this IV access. They put like a tube in your hand.
And you have to walk
with
around
the IV access. Correct.
Yeah.
Right. But you can't leave the room because the bacteria outside the room would affect and they'd have to start all over again. So the security guard says, dude, I'll go get something. And he brought me a burger and fries and a drink. And I was blown away. And only because of
that is what is the human experience. Being able to look at a fellow human being, know and understand that they might be going through something. What can I do to try and alleviate what little I can? Not saying you're going to be able to, give the man a walk.
Correct.
But, how can I help you in this short period of time?
Life. Correct.
Yeah.
And then by time I was being released, surgery was perfect. The nurses were awesome. One nurse turned to me and said, oh, we heard about what you do. I have 2 grandkids that want to learn to ride a bike. I was like, no problem. Here's my card. I'll teach them for free. And she's like, what do you mean for free? I don't understand. I said, well, for 3 days I've been on my back moaning and I've been in pain, and you've been professional doing your job. The least I can do to return the favor to you is I'll teach your two grandchildren how to ride a bike. That's me stopping my life.
Enjoy the fact that human beings have the ability to help each other out. You're part of my tribe.
Correct. Dude, if I tell my daughter, she got a B in history. Okay, so what? Please and thank you. You'll be fine.
There's the ability to be able to converse amongst people without creating, that adversarial, that foe, that kind of, animosity. That is a skill set that a lot of people don't have now. They've obviously missed it. But if you just had that, I mean, you listen, a lot of people have been able to create great things from very small things, right? Oprah knows how to talk to people. Joe Rogan knows how to talk to people. They have skills in other things, but they know how to be able to carry a conversation. And if you just have that, you don't even have to look at yourself and say, I failed in life. Just find a way to take the little skill that you have and use it in a manner that can create, a career for you or create income for you, whatever your goal is. But a lot of people have created with this much, a lot. You look at Instagram models, right? To use the social media platform, right? There's a lot of people creating wealth from little or nothing at all. Maybe the ability to take a good picture.
Wearing little or nothing at all.
Wearing little or nothing at all. I wasn't even talking about them, but maybe being able to take a pretty picture, right? It's a very small thing, but they've created wealth. They've created a name. They've created a career from being able to take a pretty picture, right?
Yeah.
Don't ever look at yourself and think that, I can't achieve. You have to look at yourself and say, well, what do I have or what do I want to use to achieve? Because the sky's the limit in any endeavor that you can come up with.
Agreed.
Right? I mean, for
and more than
me,
one.
I had the ability to talk. There's not, I maybe be a little bit creative, but I've been able to, have a career as a result of being able to talk and being a little bit creative. But there's a lot of people that are better at it than me, and look at what they've been able to create, right? You can't, a lot of people want to look down because they're measuring against something else. But there's a saying, don't judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree. Right? You know that one, right?
Yep.
It's like,
I love that.
Don't look at other people and think what they've been able to achieve. Look at yourself and say, okay, what can I do with what I have? And if I don't have enough, how do I get more? Right? It's there. Everything's available for you now.
But correct. But in our era of high school, go back to high school where you were doing stage, our parents' plan for us then was to get one job and
that's a conservative thought mind. Yes. Yeah.
Correct. They consider get a job, become a doctor, a lawyer, and get a certain salary, then get a wife, buy a house, and then die. Now you can have 2 jobs. You can have 3 jobs. You can be dynamic.
You can have no job.
Right. But
I teach my kids to have no job.
Passion and
don't have a
drive.
job. Find a way to create income. Yes, I agree.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be a job.
Thank you. Because a job requires, I think we had this conversation last time. We agree on our idea of success. A job requires you to clock in and clock out of a job of that hours to get a certain amount of pay. So you have a certain salary per hour. So you're making $10 an hour. You work 10 hours. That's $100. You can't make more, can't make less. But you got to get there to earn that $100.
Yes.
Our idea of success is I had a summer camp running, and I had a head coach. I had all the people in charge. The summer camp, all the coaches know what to do. The kids were safe. The equipment was clean. I can go maracas.
Yes.
I could be in the beach and
Yeah.
my business is working, my money is rolling, and I am successful because I'm not there. I don't have to be there while I'm earning. And I
Yes.
love that.
Yeah.
How many
What's his
jobs
name?
can you say?
50 Cent. I saw a video of 50 Cent having a speech at some point at some
The rapper.
convention. Yeah. And he basically said that he didn't make money until he stopped making money for doing work. He realized at some point that when he's like, I only made money when I went on stage. He's like, you're not working until you make your money work, not you. Right? He's like, that's where success lies, in the ability to make your money, make the money without you being involved in it. So in terms of him, recording a song once, but it gets played on the radio, every time it gets played on the radio, he gets 6 cents.
Royalties.
Right? Royalties, right? Being able to set up a business that you could, leave people to run the business while you go ride your bike up Maracas Hill and fall off the bicycle, right? Or Tobago, Scarborough Hill, whichever hill you fall off of. I've fallen off of bikes before. That's why when you were telling me that you fell off your bike, I was saying OTB, because in the mountain biking community, OTB is the acronym for over the bar. Did you fall and go over the bar, or did you go side saddle, right? Because I've gone over the bar myself a couple times because I mountain bike, you road bike, right? But that's the thing. It's being able to, everybody has their own distinction of success. Some people, it's finding that 9 to 5 that they went to school for and getting paid well. Great, that's yours. But my attitude has always been, and I teach my kids the same thing. Don't be fooled into thinking that the only way to create money is from a job. You can create money from being able to do anything and everything. There's money everywhere, right? And you don't need to invest money to make money. There's always an investment, but it doesn't have to be investing money to make money. So you don't have to buy a building to rent it out, right? That's investing money to make money. Yes, that can be done as well. But there's also the ability, like I never paid for a joke that I went and told on stage, right? I sat down with a pen and a paper and I invested time and energy in writing it, but I've never invested money to pay somebody to give me a joke that I could tell on stage. So there's always an investment in terms of being able to get something to create something that brings you money, right? But if you have the ability to do something that you already have a passion and a love for, then that's where the saying is, you'll never work a day in your life because you're doing something you love anyway, right? The guy who's trained, I have a friend of mine who trains dogs. He loves dogs. He loves being around dogs. Every time somebody brings a new dog to him, it's a new friend to the family, right? And he actually gets paid doing what he enjoys. I had a time where me and Brian Lara, who, for the people that don't know, Brian Lara is
he's pretty good at cricket. He's pretty good.
He's the top level guy in cricket. He has world records, multimillionaire, blah, blah, blah. Like a Gretzky in hockey or a Shaq in basketball, right? He's that level. All right. So me and Brian are in New York because I'm emceeing a show that he is on. And I sat down for lunch with him and I was like, Brian, what's it like being paid millions of dollars to be able to play a game that you and I both know
you love?
You'd have played for free, right? He looks at me, no time at all between I ask the question, he comes up with his answer. He's like, Mark, what's it like to earn money from talking a load of shit that you talk already? And I was like, okay, I get it.
There you go.
I get it.
You see,
because that's what it is. It's being able to get paid for doing something you love anyway. You won't clock in 9 to 5. You'll work from
Mark,
eye open to eye closed, right? Because you love it.
But the sweet spot is it's passion and drive. You and I and Brian are doing the things we love. I mean, when we love, if they told you you finish at 4 p.m., you're still going at 5 and 6:30 and 7,
Yeah.
like me. So you know you love it because I can come early and work late, and I work on weekends, and I'm not bothered because I'm driven by passion.
Yep.
And I am blessed in a non-religious sense. I am lucky and fortunate. Bringing it out. I'm blessed that I can do development sport and be creative to so many different kids and different skills, and I get paid for that. But I would do it for free if somebody asked.
Yep.
I am absolutely blessed, Mark, and I think you are too, because you have always, as long as I've known you, you've been bitten by that creative, artistic bug.
Yes.
And not a quiet bug, a loud ass, colorful bug.
You wouldn't believe how many times people have said that term to me, loud ass, for many different reasons, but loud ass seems to come up in my life all the time.
You're not quiet, are you? You're not.
I'm passionate.
You can't be. Okay, Mark. I never see you working in a library. I can know, but passionate
I wouldn't like it.
And quiet also. Okay,
I could do it.
I never saw you. Okay, ninja. Things you can't do. Librarian, ninja.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't
work in any
long.
religious or political.
Again, I wouldn't last long.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure I could do it.
And any field that requires full clothes or shoes or socks. Yeah.
Yeah. Well. I listen. I live in Canada now. It gets a bit cold, so I have no problem with being fully clothed in Canada. But in Trinidad, come on now. You know, you wake up at midnight, it's 32 degrees Celsius. I get why people sleep naked, right? I don't, but I could see why, right? That is wild.
So let me share a bit of history of how Mark, right? So how Mark dressed back in high school. Well, obviously, people would just say jeans and a t-shirt. No, Mark would have these tie-dye batik, so bright ass painted shirts.
Yeah.
Bright ass painted 3/4 pants, football socks, and big boots, like those mountain climber boots. That's what you rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had this long ass. Yeah, you're loud. You're
very odd.
We can pick you up in a lineup. You're like, that dude.
People who know me now. Now, there's only two things I wear now, right? It's jeans and black.
Hockey jerseys.
No, it's jeans and black. It had to be a black shirt, a black long sleeve, short sleeve, t-shirt. It's black. There's nothing on it. It's black. Or I wear my geeky jerseys, hockey jerseys, right? So literally people who would hear you saying, Mark used to dress in tie-dye, and they'd be like, Mark who? But shut up, right? They wouldn't believe it because they know me. I'd walk in, I'd be wearing jeans and something black.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Lies.
All my geeky jerseys. Shout out to geeky jerseys. That's my people. Anyway.
Okay, geeky. Well, when you send a geeky jersey for me, actually, no, I can't wear that. That shit too long.
It'll be too hot.
It'll be too hot.
Oh, yeah, I'll get one of the baseball ones and send for you.
No, I'll tell you what. If I'd come to a hockey game, and I want to play a hockey game, and I'll put one on, and I'll be fine. But
actually, they have hats too. They have baseball hats. I'll send you a baseball hats.
Man, you were colorful beyond it. Oh my God, you wear the shit. It was just incredibly.
Yeah, I was looking for attention. Listen, I'm a second child, right? There's the first, there's always the first, and then there's the last, and I was in the middle, right? So second child, always looking for attention. I was one of those. That's who I was. Just loud colors, loud car. I had no muffler on the car. It was a straight pipe.
Yep.
Yeah. I was loud.
No, own it.
Right now, my family must
I-
be wondering what's
I
going on in the office.
support-
I'm being
I
loud
support
now. Just loud.
Why are you so quiet, right?
I'm passionate, dude. I've
No,
always been
I
passionate.
support that.
As a matter of fact, this
Yeah, but-
funny. You were around when I met my wife Dean, right? And
Beautiful woman, yes.
yeah, just like the train story. Culturally, Dean was accustomed to a certain thing, but then meeting me with my mother, with Margaret, right? How Margaret and I interact freaked Dean out because the way she interacted with her mother, two totally different things.
Two different.
Like I act like I'm like a white boy, and how white boys traditionally or stereotypically act with their mom, right? Cussing each other out. That's me and my mom. That's just the way we talk. We loud, we expressive, we cuss each other out. That's just the way it works, right? But my wife,
And your mother not quiet.
yeah, well,
Your mother not quiet.
yeah. If I had a tagline for her, she'd have a tag right back at me. Ding, 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 ding. There's
Right.
barbs. Doing, doing,
But
doing.
Dean, but different. You see, a mom is on top the food chain. God, whatever. Your mom, and then you, right? Licks.
Mm,
With Dean, it was different. She was smart as she was beautiful. So she was more
Yes.
tactful. She was very reserved and timid. She knew but when she hit you with a punch, it was a Mike Tyson knock you the fuck out punch.
yeah. That's the problem with
She
guys
didn't need
like,
to be loud.
that's the problem with funny guys. We always trying to bat above our level, right? We're club level.
You
But
but way
then-
above. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got
Dean is, all up in the pros, right? So she's like NBA and I'm like on the street playing ball, right? Yeah,
yeah. Well,
I went way
got
above
lucky.
my
You got
level.
lucky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Luck,
Okay.
yeah.
How the analogy is hitting 2 home runs from 1 ball, hitting 2 free throws from 1 shot. Yeah, you
Uh-huh.
way above your pay grade. Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. So when my kids and my wife actually watch this, yes, I've admitted that you are way above my level, wife of mine. Whatever. Ugh. Well, that's a good
Hey,
way to
we
end
love-
this
we love our-
podcast.
We love our family.
I just say nice things about our spouses. Blah. Ugh.
Uh,
That's nasty. Damn it. I'm not supposed to say good
Alright.
things about my wife. But, sure.
okay, I will
Whatever.
because I'm afraid of her. I'm
Yeah.
afraid of her.
She's a powerful black woman, man. Gotta watch out,
Oh,
right?
oh, God. No, she's
Powerful
always
black
been
woman.
brilliant.
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
Okay, just remind me of kids now. Remind me the ages.
My kids are 23, 17, 15, and 12.
Okay.
Mark
wow.
Savannah is 23, Marie Soleil is 17, Melanie Sky is 15, Miles Stone is 12.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I
Yeah.
had too many of them. I have spare.
No,
one
no,
of them is a
hey.
spare. I didn't tell them which one is a spare, but one of them is a spare. Like if one disappears, I got 3 more. So it's not that big a deal. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I'll cry for a while, but eventually, they hate when I make those kind of
Yeah.
jokes. They're like, that's too
Whatever.
dark. I'm like, whatever, man.
No, I have one. She's 16 and smarter than I am. So I am blessed.
Yeah. They all
she's
think
not
they're
cookie
smarter
cutter.
than us. They all think that they're smarter than us. But take away their cell phone. Let's see how smart they are now. Right? Yeah.
Put them on
Society
the
breaks
street.
down
Yep.
for them. There's no such thing as society anymore once they lose their phone.
It's like, hold on. Whoa.
Shut up.
Oh, it's the end of the world. How do I get to the
Shut up.
corner? How do I get a drink? How do I?
Let's go in the
Oh.
bush, see how long you survive. I know, and I look like Grizzly Adams too. Like that's the kind of thing that anyway. God damn.
Okay.
I really need to get this done. I have to go and find a barber somewhere and cut this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I have a problem with the you can just see it's I gotta cut it. It's overgrown. It's
And I'm trying to get the twisty. What was the name of the guy around?
like the
who went-
old,
Dastardly?
it's like Sherlock Holmes. Isn't it?
No, Dastardly from Around the World in 80 Days with Dastardly and Mutt.
Yeah, that. The
Muttley?
cartoon Crazy Race. Muttley was a dog.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to do it, but I don't have the wax to do it. But I'll get there. I'll get there. As this podcast continues and the Mark Trinidad, I don't know shit podcast takes off, and then I start to make money from it. Yeah, then I'll buy the wax so that I can have the dastardly. Oh dear, I don't know. We won't be able to drive in that without having some sort of person follow us around. Maybe we should use the Aston Martin so that we can keep ourselves a little low key, darling. Maybe we should use the Aston Martin.
Yeah, low key.
Yeah, low key.
I don't think we ever done low key.
Never.
That's one word not in our repertoire.
I know in my age now,
Mark,
I try to do low key. We should break up, boy. We should do this.
I'm good.
I am thankful that you have come on and spread some sort of misinformation about my youth. Everything that Scott said was untrue. It was all lies and innuendo.
I got more stories.
I will have to check back in with you sporadically for you to tell me more stories of what I did in my youth.
You don't know shit.
I don't know shit, guy. I appreciate you, Scott. Thank you very much for coming on. What is you didn't tell me, what's the name of your business?
I run a company called Fit Kids, which is a
Fit Kids
development program. Yeah. So for kids that want to be fit and be active and moving. So I'm not looking for the national elite of kids. I'm looking for just random kids, average kids, overweight kids, kids with ADHD or asthma, just kids that want to move and do and have fun doing. Not winning or competing, but learning new skills. Like I said, I'm doing dodgeball, archery, fencing. I do summer camps. I've learned to ride. I have a bike club. So I'm like this morning, I taught a couple of kids how to ride a bike. It's just doing different things from a developmental level. And as they get good, I can pass them on to a better coach. So like, hey, I'll call a coach, hey, Angelo, I got 2 kids for you. They're ready to come into your program because they're getting too good.
Right.
And then
what is your website?
So I'm on Fit Kids Trinidad on Facebook or Instagram.
Right. Fit Kids Trinidad. So at Fit Kids
but
TT
I mean,
on Instagram at Fit Kids TT.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure to put that in when I edit this video.
Oh yeah, please. But I don't really can't help any Canadians up there other than you can take
it doesn't matter.
And
nah,
it's all movement. It's all positive movement.
It's being able to take kids nowadays and show them to exist in the analog world, not just in the digital world, right? Too many of them are getting too caught up in the digital world. You need a little analog in your life.
But not just playing sport, but being happy and respectful doing it. It's
having fun.
Teamwork. It's what core principles of fun and teamwork and discipline. Besides, I'm playing the sport, but I like doing, because when you fast forward, it teaches them confidence and health and just that reliance that we need as a human being.
It's so much more than being able to do that particular sport for different reasons. It's just being able to enjoy yourself, being out with other people who happen to be doing the same thing as you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, you're doing God's work,
I learn
man.
from my kids all the time.
You're doing God's work.
Which God?
See, let's not start there. All right, Scott. Thank you, my brother. Go and heal up. Go and take a blue soap
Thank you.
Fix yourself up. Thank you, brother. Cheers.
Bye, guys. Bless.